It was the week that never ends. The week that never ends. I mean, wasn't it really? Week 12 of the NFL season started on Thanksgiving Day, and it carried over into Wednesday afternoon. Not Wednesday night, because we had to show the Ravens-Steelers game before the Rockefeller tree. Oh, boy! Should have bumped that. It's a war on Christmas, I tell you! War on Christmas! Oh, God. It felt like the week of the NFL season that would never end, but alas, it finally has. So it is time for me to take a look back at the week that was after a week of grilling out food and eating way too damn much. Feeling good, feeling fine. Let's get after this one more time. Hit it! On Thanksgiving, the Lions did what they do best. They imploded and embarrassed themselves on national TV again. Deshaun Watson had a nice day. Houston Texans defense, who typically haven't done well in terms of forcing turnovers this year. As soon as it was mentioned by Nance and Romo on commentary, man, the Lions started coughing it up like a fucking hairball. Texans win 41-25, and in the biggest story of all, Matt Patricia, head coach, and general manager Bob Quinn did not make it through the weekend. Lions fans should feel a little bit better, if it's any consolation, that those two asshats, those two clowns, those jagbags were shown the freaking door. Have you pining for the days of Jim Caldwell? That's how bad it was. But not to be outdone in terms of the embarrassment department, the Cowboys apparently forgot that you play two halves of football. Like you have 30 minutes broken up into two 15-minute quarters. Then you have a halftime period where you take a break, you do your number ones, your number twos, you get some nourishment, some refreshment, and then you have to come back out and you play two more 15-minute quarters. Because by God, I don't know what the hell happened, but they left both their offense and their defense in the locker room for the second half. Because in the second half, Washington killed them. They embarrassed the Fighting Jerry Joneses 41-16. You want to talk about an embarrassment. Like, you expect the Lions to be an embarrassment, but they always try to artificially prop up the Cowboys, but they are who they are. They're a joke and an embarrassment just as much. Now, switching over to the Sunday games. Apparently, the Raiders said, hey, whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, and apparently wanted to keep their defense and offense in Vegas, especially their defense, because, man, they went to Atlanta and they got their clocks clean. Falcons beat that ass 43-6. How does a team that beats the Chiefs for their only loss of the season and damn near beat him a second time go to Atlanta and lay that type of egg? Incredible what can happen in the NFL from one week to the next. Buffalo's defense actually made an appearance, played well, helped them do enough to win 27-17, and here come the Bills at the top of the AFC East. Watch out for them. 4 Graham Gano field goals helped the Giants have just enough to get past the woeful Bungles, the Burrowless Bungles. And I'm not trying to say Bungles as a derogatory term, because they tried and they fought in this game. They really did. My hat's off to them. But they're just not good. And they lost the young hope of the franchise quarterback. Yeah, like, it's got to be really tough in that environment. I wouldn't be surprised if they lost out the rest of the year. The Titans got 5 total touchdowns between Derrick Henry and A.J. Brown. In particular, Derrick Henry had a monster day, going over 170 yards rushing. With 3 of those touchdowns, the Titans come back a couple of weeks after an embarrassing Thursday night loss to the Colts, get their revenge 45-26. Kirk Cousins, of all people, Captain Comeback Kid, hey? Yeah, he led a late fourth quarter comeback drive. Chad Beebe, in a short amount of time, goes from bum to stud, and the Vikings come back and beat the Carolina Panthers 28-27. Patriots defense made a nice appearance, clamping down on Kyler Murray and the Cardinals offense. Nick Folk kicked a 50-yard game-winning field goal as time expired. Patriots beat the Cardinals 20-17. Ryan Fitzpatrick, Fitzmagic, got some revenge on his old team. Was no trouble for them. Dolphins beat the Jets 20-3. Keep hope alive, Jets fans. 5 more weeks. Adam Gase will give you one great gift. One great parting gift on his way out the damn door. I know it sucks and he should have long since been gone. But if he gets you to where you want to be, which is truly at the top of the draft, #1 overall, then wasn't it really worth it? I'm just saying. Nick Chubb and Jarvis Landry had big days for the Cleveland Browns offense. They had just enough to squeak past the giraffe neck Glennon led Jacksonville Jaguars 27-25. Imagine if the Browns would have lost to the Jags. Then I would have had the right, at least for 1 week, to call them the skid marks. I can't call them that this year because Kevin Stefanski's certainly in the Coach of the Year running, and they're sitting at 8-3 and in very good position in the AFC playoff race. You had a game featuring 2 teams without a quarterback, and the Saints and the Broncos. Yikes, that was bad. That was really, really bad and borderline embarrassing for the league. Saints stomped the Broncos 31-3. Robbie Gould kicked a 42-yard field goal as time expired as the 49ers hold off the Rams, beat the Rams 23-20, and complete the season sweep on them. And all of a sudden, 49ers are not completely out of the mix. In Tampa, Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill had magic on Sunday, had a monster day. Both of them did. Chiefs jumped out to a big lead, had enough to hold them off, 27-24. You go to Sunday night, and would you have expected anything less than what actually happened? Trubisky sucks. He is a turd. Matt Nagy sucks in prime time. The Bears' offense sucks. And surprise, surprise, apparently, the defense didn't give a crap either. Once again, Aaron Rodgers, you're our daddy. Thank you, sir. May I have another? Packers rolled over the Bears. The score in no way an indication of just how much of a wipeout this was. Packers win easily 41-25. And for all intents and purposes, basically realistically clinched the NFC North with this win, even though they technically didn't mathematically. You go to Monday night, hey, at least the Bears aren't the only team with a crappy offense and a quarterback playing horribly. The Eagles, woo! Their line's not playing well, their receivers can't get open, and Carson Wentz stinks too. All that combines to a bad offensive day, making the Seahawks defense look a lot better than it really is. Conversely, DK Metcalf is an absolute stud. Jim Schwartz, maybe you should shut your mouth and not tell somebody they're not Megatron yet, because you might just piss them off. Like, why do people do that? How do you think that's a good thing? Seahawks beat the Eagles on Monday night, 23-17. And then on Wednesday, with Lamar Jackson out due to COVID, and hopefully he's recovering and getting ready to come back and play next week, we got the RG knee experience. Yeah, he sucked. He forgot how to play, and apparently the Ravens forgot how to play. Steelers weren't great, but they're 11-0. You might have major questions about them. Sounds like they might have lost Bud Dupree for the year for an ACL injury, but Steelers hold off the Ravens 19-14. When I look at the winners and losers from the week that was, the winners, looking at Tennessee Titans, sitting there now at 8-3, got their revenge on the Colts. Like, they're in a command position in the AFC South and really set themselves up well. That was a quality win on the road that they really, really needed. San Francisco 49ers, being able to sweep the series with the Rams this year, like, that was a really good performance for them. They may not have enough to make it to the playoffs, but considering all the injuries and all the problems and everything, the fact that they're still in the mix, I think is a really good reflection on head coach Kyle Shanahan, defensive coordinator Robert Saleh, etc. And then the Kansas City Chiefs go into Tampa and, put up big numbers like that. The Chiefs sitting there at 10-1. You get a road win against a quality opponent, like, you got to consider that a good win for them. In terms of the losers, obviously Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn, because y'all tried that Belichick philosophy, talking to people like they were dirt and treating people like shit. And guess what? When you suck at your job, that stuff kind of backfires. You guys are losers because you lost your job. And I know we're supposed to sit there and say, hey, we shouldn't celebrate when other people lose their job. But these guys were really bad at their jobs. They absolutely deserve to be fired after last year. I don't know why the hell the Fords waited so long, but at least Lions fans, you got embarrassed on Thanksgiving, and that was the impetus, the straw that broke the camel's back to finally get these two ass clowns out of Detroit once and for all. And then you look at Jerry Jones, like, all the people talking about, can we stop having Detroit play on Thanksgiving every year? I'm certainly down with that. But can we also, I know you're going to use the market size and the ratings and everything, but maybe if you actually promoted and pushed other teams that were actually good, they could draw similar ratings, giving time to what the Cowboys do. Can we stop having these clowns play on Thanksgiving as well? Because that was an embarrassing performance as well. And Jerry Jones is a freaking loser. What the hell is the difference between the Dallas Cowboys and the Chicago Bears at this point? Well, the Bears got a couple more fluke wins this year. You could say, well, the Cowboys, when Dak's healthy, have a quarterback. Well, yeah, that makes it worse. Because when Dak's healthy, they actually have a quarterback, and they still underperform. They still stink. They even brought in a guy to be their head coach as a former Super Bowl winner, but now we found out that Mike McCarthy truly does suck. Sometimes you got to find that out. You thought maybe it was just the end of the Green Bay time, just didn't go well. No, he just sucks. And the Cowboys suck. And Jerry Jones deserves all the crap he gets. And then the Chicago Bears, of course, going on prime time again to get embarrassed again by the Green Bay Packers again. Aaron Rodgers showing he's still our daddy again. Stop putting this goddamn team on prime time until they get a real deal professional NFL offense. Would you please? Please. And to go out there and roll over defensively and not be able to figure out a damn thing offensively is just an embarrassment and a joke. You can't fire the McCaskies, but hey, just a reminder, this would be a perfect time to fire Ted Phillips. And I don't know what the hell you're waiting for at this point. Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy should have already been shown the door. We've got some game balls to give out for the week. Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill put up big numbers. Mahomes threw for 462 yards and 3 touchdowns. Tyreek Hill looked like early on in the game you could be talking about potentially witnessing history. But he finished with 13 receptions, 269 yards, 3 touchdowns. That was a massive day. Other teams are watching this and saying, hey, you know what? The Buccaneers can't stop anybody in the passing game, so let's just throw on them a lot and force them to learn how to stop us. It certainly worked for the Chiefs on Sunday. Derrick Henry had a monster day, 178 yards and 3 touchdowns, helping the Titans beat the Colts in a big way. And then the Falcons defense, of course, now they're piecing together wins when it doesn't matter, and they're not going to make the playoffs, and they're costing themselves a marquee pick that they could have potentially used as an heir apparent for Matt Ryan. But nonetheless, they've pulled it together in recent weeks after they fired Dan Quinn and Dimitroff. That was a really impressive performance against a good Raiders team on Sunday, holding them to 6 points. I'm going to close it out with my 2-minute drill and just talk about what you saw happen this week. The fact that the week went from Thursday to Wednesday. And you see the way COVID was handled in different situations. In Denver, because all the quarterbacks, one got COVID and the other ones were in close proximity, they said none of those quarterbacks are eligible to play. The Broncos had to do something. They had to throw out a wide receiver to play an emergency role, and that was a joke and an embarrassment. And shame that you had to put that young man in that situation. He did the best he could. My props to him. But then you go to the situation with Baltimore where they had multiple positive tests, but since it wasn't just one position group and it was a larger team, it's almost like we're rewarding teams for outbreaks versus just 1 or 2 positive cases. Because now we're saying, hey, we're going to adjust and we're going to sit there and move schedule and move games and impact other teams and impact other games, and that's just kind of crappy. I know certainly the Pittsburgh Steelers were whining about it, leading into Thanksgiving once the game got moved away from Thanksgiving night, and I kind of understand. It's nobody's fault, but come on, man, at some point in time, it's getting ridiculous. And then to think about it, what's going to happen later on? We get to the playoffs, or even, God forbid, the Super Bowl. What happens if your team's in that position and all of a sudden your starting quarterback is out with COVID? Now you talk about the ultimate kick in the seat, the ultimate nut shot, the ultimate in screw this. It almost feels like that's the path that we're heading down for the NFL. Is that we're going to get to a Super Bowl and we're going to get a very tainted, very asterisk-filled Super Bowl because either a game's going to have to be delayed, which they're not going to want to delay a Super Bowl, or you're going to have to sit there and have one team go out there and be not nearly full strength, most importantly, because they won't have their starting quarterback or other major stars on either side of the ball. I hope that doesn't happen, but I worry that it's going to. And if it does, then what do you say? So this sucks. I hope we don't have to keep dealing with this. Otherwise, at some point in time, you got to start forcing some teams to have to forfeit games in order to get the message across that these guys got to be more careful and they got to take better care of themselves and better precautions. Because we can't keep doing this exercise forever. It's stupid.